on Sunday, man, there were just a number of blowouts. So we started the day where the Bears overwhelmed the Jaguars 35-16. The Packers embarrassed the Cardinals 34-13. The Raiders were outmatched by the Steelers 32-13. The Lions shockingly dominated the Cowboys 47-9. Our Panthers, their defense just couldn't stop the Falcons, and Carolina fell to Atlanta 38-20. And then the Texans beat up the Patriots 41-21. And then the Bucs handed the Saints another discouraging defeat with a score of 51-27. So we can talk about a number of these teams. Which one jumps out to you? Where do you want to start, Josh?
Well, being a local guy, I like starting with the Saints because I don't like them at all. And I think we were talking about it even before we hit the air here is they won 2 in a row. Everybody's like, oh, watch out for the Saints. And now we've lost 4 in a row. And as Dennis Green said once a long time ago, they are who we thought they were, right?
That's right.
So the Saints obviously struggling. You mentioned the Cowboys. I mean, that's 3 straight losses at Jerry World. And he says he's not going to fire anyone. I'm kind of shocked by that. They got a lot of talent, a lot of hurt players, much like the Panthers. But those stick out. But then I'm thinking about the game you mentioned to kick it off, the early morning game in London. And I'm thinking about Trevor Lawrence, man, All-American, Clemson. He's had success in the NFL, and they are struggling. I mean, I've heard people saying, hey, we'd trade Bryce Young straight up for Trevor Lawrence just to get him out of town. I'm thinking, how fast have things crumbled in Jacksonville?
Ooh, that would be crazy. I would take that trade as a Panthers
I don't know
fan.
that it would happen, but
that's wild. So, yeah, I think so. There are a couple like takeaways when you think about these teams that are just kind of outmatched and dealing with kind of some major defeats. To me, a team like the Raiders, who actually the Panthers beat, like their season is over. So whether they have Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, they need to find a quarterback of the future. They're going to sort of get through this year, and they're looking for a top pick. So these tough losses for the Raiders, I think that's only going to continue. You think about a team like the Cardinals, a lot of hype coming in this year, especially in the fantasy community, and I was not on this bandwagon, but a lot of people were. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, the tight end, and James Conner. This offense has been very inconsistent. They've shown glimpses at times. They're very up and down. But that was an embarrassing loss. Now, we know the Packers have had a nice season. They're playing well. When Jordan Love is rocking and rolling, all these different weapons, different receivers. But the Cardinals are one of those teams where they're still hard to figure out. They've got some talent there. They're in trouble. And then you've got the Cowboys, like you mentioned, where again there's talent there, and you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Dak, but they have no running game. They don't have a consistent running game, and so when I watch the Cowboys, they just don't seem to have it. Like they're just not in sync. They're not together. And with Mike McCarthy, and then you mentioned the Jaguars with Doug Peterson, it seems like the older coaches are having a tough time in today's NFL. The things have changed. Now we know Andy Reid, we know the Harbaughs and Mike Tomlin. Like those guys are still getting it done. But after that, it's tough. It's tough for the older coaches. So
one you haven't mentioned here, and I think it's important to mention because there were a lot of high expectations in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Traded away a lot to get Deshaun Watson, fully guaranteed contract. And they have the same record as our hometown Panthers, 1-5. Supposedly a dominant defense, and yet they are struggling. I don't watch all of their games. You look at stats, you look at losses, but it's not going very well there. And I don't know where you build from because you've invested so much in Deshaun. Are they another team that says maybe we draft a quarterback next year in the first or second round because we just don't know what we're going to get with Deshaun?
No, absolutely. And I'm actually surprised that they continue to roll Watson out there, to not even give Jameis kind of a consideration. Jameis Winston's there as their backup, and I think he could maybe provide a little spark for them. Because, yeah, their offense, talk about being outmatched, their offense is outmatched. Like, they can't move the ball. They're very inconsistent. And, yeah, I'm afraid that they're going to be overwhelmed the rest of the season as well. And then the Patriots, although Drake May showed some glimpses, and we'll give him a shot. Let's see him for a few weeks before we go crazy. But the Patriots, they're overwhelmed right now. They're in a full-blown rebuild, and the Texans keep rolling. So C.J. Stroud, and even though Nico Collins was out this week, Joe Mixon was back. The Texans rolled, and tough loss for the Patriots. But and then the Bucs. Yeah, you mentioned the Saints. Tough loss for them, but man, the Bucs keep winning. 51 points for the Bucs. I mean, it's crazy. Baker Mayfield.
He's
been doing it for 6 weeks. They had the one bad game, but other than that, he has been absolutely rolling. So